against the enemy team. And on top of that, you have the curtain call coming in from Jin from far away. So it's more of, I think 16-bit gear really wants to go for that team fight potential, and Omega Esports is trying to go for maybe the pick off, the gank type of draft.
Yeah, and perhaps that's maybe the reason why they wanted to go for the Jin, so you can just stay way far back and not have to deal with, people like Akali or Zed in this sort of situation. Looks like we actually just managed to get through. The magic of Dave's production skills is kind of bewildering to me. I don't know how we got from just like nothing to being in the game, but here we are, ready to start game number 1 of the playoffs. This is the round of 8. We have Mega Esports. Just to help our viewers out potentially, the blue side, I didn't mention this earlier, but perhaps you could already tell. Blue side is the Omega side, so Omega and Smart is their sponsor, so it's going to be Omega Smart. Just think Omega Smart, right? And then the Korean side is going to be 16-bit gear, so obviously they're going to be on the red side. And speaking of which, 16-bit gear is setting up for this Drake take right now, and they do have the Rift Scuttler, so it's going to be difficult for the side of Omega to gain any vision. All 5 members actually congregated right here. We see Akali on the minimap up top, but here comes the fight. Looks like it gets knocked up right away, and Graves just completely gets obliterated. Down he goes to the Yasuo, and red team also takes down the Ocean Dragon. So very nice start here for 16-bit gear. Only issue for them is they're losing their tower up top.
I mean, the 16-bit gear team already has the information, right? Kali was stuck on top lane rather, trying to go for a push. And when you have that information, you know that you have the member advantage when it comes to the team fight. So it's basically a 5v4 a while ago. And on top of that, Zed went in for a recall so that it was basically a 5v3. So it's a matter of when is the right time to make that objectives. When it's the right time to the Rift Herald goes to the side of 16-bit gear, they're gonna have that massive spike into the early game.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like they're actually going in. The Akali goes in and pops the vision stance. An actually huge hit onto all 3 members, and the Wild Growth goes down. That means they get another kill, and they take down Oriana. They take down the Alistar and the Olaf. Actually, that was a 3-4-0. I thought it was a 2-4-0 for a second. It was actually 3-4-0. That is exactly the fight that Omega are looking for. And considering they're actually the team that has, arguably the worst team fight, this is absolutely amazing for them. They even picked up the Rich card. I didn't notice that either. So this is going to be a huge push here for Omega, as we actually have Omega going for the Dragon this time. And wow, Curtain Call gets completely wasted here, as every single member of Omega is out of there. Only Zed taking even a little bit of damage. This is just going so badly for 16-bit. They all came over. All 5 of them came over to contest the Dragon. And not only did they not get the Dragon, but Zed was split pushing the entire time, nearly getting that tier 2 tower. Look at that minimap. This entire time we've been talking about.
How could the Oriana go for the shockwave, right? So it's very, very hard for them to do so. And look at that. Zed is split pushing in the bottom lane, and now Olaf's retreat, Yasuo retreats, and now the rest could try and go for a gap, go for a play, while we're doing it.
No, okay. I'm actually surprised he didn't just auto it down and then go for his ult there. They're gonna actually aggress onto the... Wait, this could be really bad. I thought that was going extremely well for them. Okay, they're gonna back off of the Baron, but the Baron actually could get taken here by 16-bit gear. So we were complimenting Omega this entire time. It looked like they were going to get a free inhibitor turret. Looks like it wasn't so free in the end, as Zed had to lose his life. So did Akali. And those are the big buff members on the side. But the big bull time comes out here. It's top of the Yasuo. They're going to go into this fight. Extremely low is the Olaf can, or excuse me, that's the Alistar. Actually, they're all extremely low. And look here, the Graves is going and trying to get the kill off. He does get the kill off onto the Alistar, and following them and sniping them down is the Misfortune. That is 3 down already. The oh my god, that's a bad place for the Curtain Call. Zed is back. He has respawned. He's ready to lay down the smackdown. And 4 end up falling in the end for 0 on the side of Omega. Actually make that potentially 5. No, that's going to be a Stasis coming out. And she actually dies in the end. Very well done by the Zed. So that is an ace. Basically a 3v5/4v5 as the Zed came in. And that's a complete ace here for Omega.
Yeah, and I just want to say, when you're looking at the minimap, there's no vision for 16-bit gear. And look at Omega Esports. They have placed 4 wards already into the top.
It just felt like, they got the 2 pickoffs. It was really kind of negligent of them to let Zed get the inhibitor tower in the first place. But, they got the Akali, they got the Zed. Those are the 2 most fed members on the side of Omega. So going for the Baron, it's not the worst call in the world. It turns out that they couldn't really burst it down very quickly just because they don't really have, Jin isn't really capable of doing that. So and they're just not farmed, they're not farmed enough to get the farm, which is like, it sounds so weird to say, but they just couldn't do it. But this seems like the beginning of the end here, but I don't really mind that last play there by 16-bit.
Yeah, I mean the Jin is going in for that burst damage. It's not really the DPS that Misfortune has already, right? So I think it's a matter of a lack of the category when it comes to damage for the side of 16-bit gear for this game. And Smart Omega, once again, just going in for that objectives rather than kills. They're being very smart because they have the Baron buff, and pressuring the enemy team would mean they will probably get the advantage later into the matchup.
Yeah, they're just kind of poking in. Oh my goodness, Zed almost got the kill on. Alright, I'm not sure if we're connected yet, but it seems like the game is about to be over. Oh, okay, it looks like we're back into it. The mid-interpreter chart has fallen. Sorry for the disconnect for a moment there, guys. And looks like they're... So, Misfortune's just going to go ahead. No minions needed, going to go ahead and finish it off. She obviously had the Guardian Angel to her name, so it didn't really matter if she fell. Or it was extremely hard to...
Like, if you're looking at it, 9 turrets taken down, absolutely wiped here for the turrets by the side of 16-bit gear, and 0 turrets taken by the side of Smart Omega. Even if you go for that wipeout, even if you go for the ace, most probably it's going to be just an inhibitor turret in the mid lane, the top lane, or the bottom lane. It really depends on 16-bit gear, but at this point in time, it's really hard to take the lead against Smart Omega.
Yeah, exactly. I just... Okay, it looks like we were potentially going to have a fight on the Baron here. This just seems like desperation. Going for the last straw here from 16-bit. They actually do get the Akali. Kind of sloppy there by the Akali. The Wild Growth does go onto the Graves, and he's going to try to hold them up as long as humanly possible here, as there's a bit of a poking war going on. You can see on the mini-map that we have Zed actually going for the back door here. I'm not sure what happened to Olaf. Maybe he had to pop the states in order to just stay alive, but Zed might not be able to get this by his lonesome. He does have the GA. Gonna go ahead and back off. Use that flash to get on out of.
They were losing that engagement by 16-bit gear towards the Baron's pit. So very smart move coming in from Zed.
Yeah, and speaking of another smart move, he's actually going to just put a lot of damage on Olaf, kind of force him to go back. And this does seem like a one game here, as the Baron does go over to the Graves. It does seem like a one game for Omega, but it still is in their best interest to continue this play like this, right? As long as you don't get a full team fight over the 16-bit and you don't give up multiple aces, then you're going to be fine, and that's what they're deciding to do here. They do take the Baron, they're going to be pushing onto the Nexus. There's no way that they're going to get back in time, and that's going to be Omega taking game number 1 over 16-bit gear in the first game of our playoffs.
Yeah, Smart Omega respected the draft of 16-bit gear. When 16-bit gear is going for an objective, they're not going to take it. They're going in for that security, right? Into the first matchup, into the first dragon. 16-bit gear, you know what? Let's go for the dragon. Well, Smart Omega was taking the top turret. With that, Akali gained the gold, gained the advantage when it comes to items. And for the second
damage, Jin and Orianna work reasonably well together because they both have a lot of AoE as far as the traps coming up from Jin. Obviously, you have the the curtain call that can come out, and that kind of pairs well when you have an Orianna as well. So I think that both teams have drafted reasonably well. I think I like 16-bit gear's draft a little bit more, but considering how dominant Omega was in game number 1, I'm not really ready to kind of pick a team here to win.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think it's a matter of the execution, right? Because in the game 1, we were stating, you know what, 16-bit gear really having a great synergy when it comes to team fights, but at the end of the day, Smart Omega has won it all based on execution, based on objectives that they've taken throughout the game number 1. Omega lacking in terms of damage.
Oh, here comes a potential gank here. The engage comes in from the Vi, but as expected, the Camille is able to get out of there scot-free. Speaking of a potential gank, Wukong puts some damage onto the Brawl, but he's able to have these like little skirmishes. Jin unable to hit that root there, but Jin, time lapse in the past has been very good at hitting those roots. Speaking of engages here, we have the oh my goodness, Hugh coming out from the Garen, almost gets the kill onto the Camille. Actually, Garen nearly dies to the minions there. And Camille potentially could have finished off that kill if she was a little bit more persistent. Obviously, you don't really want to be hanging around with so little life. But Camille gonna get on another. Has to use the flash to get away though. And as we see the rotation, the switcheroo, and the Jin
to the mid game, late game, she would have the more power spike against the Garen. But nevertheless, D2 are now going in for the Dragon Spit. They're having their sights locked in for the Dragon Spit.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like we had a bit of a change from last game. Where last game we had a 16-bit go for the Dragon first, but this time it was Omega, that went for it in the beginning. And actually, hold the phone here. Orianna actually does go down. They get yet another kill as well. And they're trying to hold on to the situation, but really good jump in here from 16-bit Gear. Sorry, I was like thinking about how the game was progressing to this point. I didn't realize 16-bit
had the advantage when it comes to ganking out the enemy team, but D2 take it away.
Yeah, exactly. They're really going for it now. It looks like Omega was trying to go for the dragon. It was taken by someone, I'm not really sure, but the Vi already goes down 16 bits deep into this fight. Wukong is extremely low and ends up going down to the Orianna in the end. Garen going down as well. I'm just looking at the notification on the screen there. The wild growth gets put onto one of our members here. She's going to have to use the flash to get out. Looks like it was the Ezreal. But yeah, what a crazy fight that turned out to be. I'm actually looking forward to the replay because we weren't able to catch everything that happened in that situation.
Longer with a curtain call actually forced out by the Jin. But D2 were having that Red Herald fight.
Yeah, exactly. Another potential engage coming in here. The Wukong is able to take the Red Herald in the end, and potentially 16-bit might want to go ahead and back off here. And no skirmish in the end. You know, one thing I want to point your attention to, though, is the fact that the gold lead is on the side of Omega, despite the fact that they have 3 fewer kills here. That is extremely interesting to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they went for the mid lane. But nevertheless, D2 right now, they made it back even. It's now dead even when it comes to gold lead.
Oh, can they get the kill? Camille's trying to get on. Actually, he uses the flash to go backwards. I'm surprised he didn't flash forward there. I think he could have gotten the kill. He already used the wall jump in order to get closer to the Orianna, and this is going to be a problem as well as they fight.
There.
All right, testing. Looks like we are back into the game. Sorry, we lost our connection here with Dave for just a moment as we come back to it, and it looks like 3 members of 16-bit have gone down in the end. We got cut off right as Vi connected with the Wukong to finish off that kill, despite the fact that the wild growth went on them. We didn't get to see it, but looks like they were sitting ducks there for Omega, as Omega is on the comeback track. In fact, it wasn't even a comeback. Don't call it the comeback, guys, because
the late game, because you had Jin that could just burst down the Ezreal. You had the Vi with the ultimate, right? So let's see.
We have an engage coming on here. The Vi goes in, but she has to immediately go out. But oh my goodness, the curtain call, the bullet lands onto the Lulu, who is dropped. And that is a kill for free, at least in terms of return kills here for Omega. Beautiful play coming out from time lapse on our Jin here. Looks like they're gonna. Both teams are actually raring up for a fight. Both teams are getting extremely low. A big root coming out from the Jin, and they're able to finish off the Gragas. In comes the Hex, and they're able to finish off the Jin, but that comes at the cost of the life of Camille. And in goes the Vi with the engage. Gets 1. Are they gonna get 2? Wukong desperately trying to get away, and there's the flash in and the finish of that kill. We have a 6-9 in kill count for either team. That's very nice in my opinion. But so, oh my goodness. Omega is playing out of their mind at the moment, just completely better poke side. Omega has the better poking champions. Oh, never mind. Hold that off for just a moment there. Vi engaging here onto the Gragas. The wild growth has to be spent onto him. Not the longest of cooldowns, but still not the greatest. Anyway, I want to kind of finish my thought there as Jin. That root was everything. Right when he landed the root, it was on, and you saw Omega immediately jump in. So look for that in the future. I think when we see these fights going forward, it's going to be Omega trying to poke, and when they get a good poke, it's going to be game on for them. And it looks like they're actually going to be able to finish off this Baron. Infinity, I wasn't expecting them to get that.
Yeah, I actually thought like 16-bit is gonna go all in on that Baron, but I think
for 16-bit, even though they're down in gold, but that's all in the past here as Omega is on the warpath. They're gonna try to push down these lanes, but here comes the engage here from Camille, getting onto the back line. The stasis has come out from our or Oriana here, she's essentially going to go down, getting extremely low, but already Gragas is falling here for 60-bit, and Camille's trying to finish off the opponents, gets onto yet another member, but she's extremely low herself, and that is going to actually be a 4-for-2 already in favor of Omega. Didn't work out too well in the end, and that could be the finishing blow here on Wukong. Okay, that actually is his actual real body there. That's an ace coming out from Omega, and they're going to probably finish this off right now, Infinity.
100%. They have the Baron buff. There is a huge wave pushing into the base, and you also have Jin with a massive amounts of burst damage potential. So this is probably going into the side of Smart Omega for game number 2 in the playoffs. Game 1, match 1 rather.
And yes, indeed, a series win here for Omega Esports. 16-bit gear just gets dropped down to the lower bracket. So that means that Omega is going to face the winner of our next series between Next Play and Liam. And just really great play